Let's talk briefly about focus more on your race. So you're now you're in the primary portion of the race. June 5th is the actual primary where you could become the candidate, and it's like technically a jungle primary, right? Where the top two candidates. So we've been talking about Duncan Hunter Jr., Dwayne Hunter Jr., the Republican sitting in the seat right now, who is he's for, I think he literally lists it as no regulations on gun ownership of any sort, which I think is amazing. I don't even know if the NRA would go for
Donald
that.
Trump is to the left of Duncan Hunter on this issue,
On guns,
which is
yes,
insane,
and
right?
possibly on other issues as well. I mean, if you go down the list, like, he is not just a Republican, he's not just a conservative Republican, but pretty extreme. His father also represented the district, and so you're trying to chart sort of a new path to how you can appeal to the people here and represent them, not just as a Democrat and a Justice Democrat, but as a progressive Justice Democrat. So talk me through how the primary has gone and your strategy going into the general election.
Yeah, it's not theory, it's just what we've done. No one thought that we had a chance in hell, right? The skinny brown guy with the funny name, it's like they forgot who their president was for the past 8 years, but I had to remind them that this country's capable of that. And I had to kick open through the back door. The establishment did not want me, and they worked at every single turn they would try to undermine me. But then,
But based on what? Is it an issues-based thing? I mean, it's like you have experience in D.C.
yeah, you would think.
You have Amar Campa. That is a name that for some conservatives might turn them off, but also represents the diversity of America. And it doesn't seem like the Democratic Party should be naturally against that. So what is their opposition based in?
I'm not sure. I think
Is it not taking the PAC money, or?
It might be not taking the PAC money, not playing the same way, not fitting the mold of the status quo, which might be threatening to them. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But what I do know is that my district is 35% Latino. It's 15% Middle Eastern. It has the biggest Chaldean population
15%?
outside of,
Middle Eastern,
15.
interesting.
So it's half me, right? If I can make the demographic, the electorate, and turn out young people, minorities, women, and everybody, right? I talk to Republicans who say, I'm not going to vote for you. And I say, you know what? I'm going to vote for you when I'm in Congress. So just start talking. And they turn around. So they know I'm not just a one-issue candidate or a race-based candidate. And that's why we've won the California Democratic Party endorsement with 97% of the delegates. We outraised Duncan Hunter all of last year. We outraised our Democratic opponent who's taking establishment money.
And that's without the big PAC money.
Without.
So you're getting actual people's money.
Right. And
Okay.
some
It's a novel concept. I could see it spreading in the
Only came
future.
up with it. And the unions have given me some money, but it's because they align with my values, right? So I think we're doing it the right way. And my strategy is basically to do retail politics. We have 700 volunteers, registered volunteers, and we have 2 offices, field offices. So a strong ground game with mailers and some TV, but really just talking to people about the real issues, right? Not getting tied up in the political theater, but what are the actual issues? What keeps you up at night? And if you heard the things that happen in my district, it'd be heartbreaking to you. Some real struggles happening right here in America, right here in San Diego. America's finest city, but a lot of people aren't living that America's finest city lifestyle. So how do we bring back, that promise of America? It's really simple. I don't care if you're a white kid in Alpine, where Hunter lives, or a brown kid in Hamul, where I live. Economic injustice hurts all of us. Regardless of your hues or your views, it hurts all of us. And I think Duncan Hunter's so distracted with his own life that he hasn't been able to meet the basic needs of our district. And his views are out of touch with our district. I mean, our district's pretty conservative, but even on this guns issue, like the whole arming teachers, he's a former member of the armed services. In the military, with rare exceptions, if you're teaching or you're an instructor, you don't have a gun on you. The military police does, but the military even thinks it's crazy to have everybody carrying a gun on military bases.
Yeah, they have fairly harsh regulations. Right? Yeah.
So this is a guy who should understand that. I never served in the military, and I at least understand that there's a code of conduct and there's a model that the military has that works pretty good, not just with guns, but with healthcare. The 2 healthcare systems that work in America happen to be Medicare and TRICARE. And anybody who has those systems tends to love them. So why don't we expand that for everybody, so that everybody who gets out of the system what they pay into it, right? Right now, a lot of people are paying a lot for healthcare, but they're not getting the services they need. Yeah. So that equal pay, the military is good on that, and gun safety. So why don't we take these amazing military models and put it into civilian life? That should be the message that Duncan Hunter's putting forward, but he seems to be completely, forgotten, what happens in the military and why it works so well. In my district, people say, wow, this guy gets it. Yeah. So that's working in my district. And then turning out the minorities and the young people. There's 6 campuses in my district.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and at first, when I first ran, no one cared about my issues. They were just like his identity, and he's the good-looking brown guy or whatever, which is fading because the campaign's taking a toll. But that's all they cared about. I'm like, talk about my issues. And finally, they're like, well, what's his success? It's about leading with our values and bringing people together. So I know we're going to win because we got good polling. Even the Zogby poll came out, said that we're going to make it through the primary pretty handily. My opponent, Bill Wells, is telling his team if Hunter doesn't drop out, Amar's going to win the race. And he's a Republican city mayor in El Cajon. So it's not just a pipe dream anymore. It's becoming a reality thanks to the support of the progressive movement around the country, not just in my district.
Yeah, and it's been great to see that since the 2016 election, you not only have organizations like Our Revolution and Justice Democrats, things like that, but you have the use of social media to organize both protests, but also donation drives and things like that. It's been great. By the way, I also you mentioned Duncan Hunter and him being a little bit removed from the district. I do have a theory about why he's growing increasingly removed from the district. You might be aware he was involved in some alleged campaign finance problems where they were using campaign funds for a bunch of stuff. And I saw one of the things that they bought, they spent $1,300 on video games. I'm a gamer. You can spend a lot of time on $1,300 worth of video games.
Well, I think that his foreign policy is built off of his love for video games. He said that we should preemptively nuke North Korea. I'm like, dude, this isn't like modern warfare. This is real life.
Yeah, Call of Duty is great, but you can't just take the plot and put it on the modern day.
What's that new video game, like Fortnite or something like that everybody loves?
Yeah, Fortnite.
Yeah, I feel like he's spending too much time doing that.
You bring up Fortnite, and in a very real sense, that is the Republican ideal right there. You drop everyone into an island. The people who've spent money previously come in better equipped, and then it's just a fight to the death.
It's a fun game from what I've seen, but life is not a game. It's real, and he also doesn't have a home here. He has to sell his home to pay off the stuff. But more egregious than his campaign spending is his spending of taxpayer money. Yeah. Right. This tax plan, for example. He literally said on TV that this tax plan is going to hurt California. Not California Democrats, California. At every turn, this guy does not put the 50th first. That's why we're going to win. We had a very popular president in the 90s, right, who was beloved, and then he said, read my lips, no new taxes. And what happened? He lost. That's what's happening in our district. You could nuke North Korea, you could collude with Russia, you could do whatever you want, but if you hurt people's pocketbooks, they're going to make you pay for that. And this tax plan hurts our district because they can't deduct the state and local tax deductions. And people.
Oh, I'm already feeling that. Yeah.
So people need that stuff. So in our district, people are upset about that, and they know that Hunter's the guy who helped push it forward. Yeah. And he's making no apologies for it. He knows that it doesn't enrich his district, and it enriches his donors, who then enrich him because he spends that money on himself. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that they won't forgive you for. Yeah. So we're going to hold them accountable to that.
Johnny Rolofer, TYT, Amar Campa, congressional candidate, 50th District of California. So we're here at the border wall because Donald Trump's in California for two things. One is to inspect the border wall, and the second thing is he's going to have a big fundraiser in Beverly Hills where for a minimum of $25,000 you can get in, but those who give $250,000 get to sit at a table and talk to Donald Trump. So I've been wondering, what are they getting for their $250,000? And I know you as a candidate, you're a Justice Democrat, so you're not taking the big PAC money and all that. What do you think about a system where you can pay $250,000 and get the ear of an incredibly impressionable president?
It's revolting, right? I mean, when he got elected on the backs of people that he lied to. He's long betrayed them. People who cared about their kids' health care, and he wanted to end the CHIP program for a while. People who have been down on their luck, haven't had a wage increase for 5 years, much less can't afford. They probably never made even $250,000 in their whole life combined. And here's this guy saying, I'm going to come to California and talk to these wealthy people. And you know what? I talk to a lot of Trump supporters. They're not all ignorant. A lot of them are ignored. And they're still being ignored by Donald Trump. I haven't ignored them. I've gotten Trump supporters to donate to me. And for $27, not $250,000, we could have a good drink together and talk about the issues and have a good meet and greet. And I've been doing that all across the district. And I think what we learned in 2016 is that all the money in the world can't win you elections, but big money in politics is a huge problem.
So what's a better system?
I think if we had publicly funded elections, I would go for that.
Entirely eliminated.
Entirely. And let candidates run on the merit of their ideas. because it is really tough to do this. You know, it is difficult. And I've raised some good money just working hard while my opponents are hardly working or playing Fortnite or I don't know what the heck they do. But it's hard. And I can't imagine how much further along we'd be if we didn't have to worry about fundraising.
Yeah.
If I could go talk to people, shake their hands, talk about the real issues, and be there with people. But I have to spend a lot of time fundraising and doing it the honest way, but it's a lot of grueling work that I think shouldn't be the obsession of politicians. Our obsession should be, how do we promote the public good with common sense, common values to promote the public good.
And so, really fast, I know, so you're in...
Citizens United would be one thing for
Entirely.
sure. Completely.
Well, yeah, as a necessary step towards
Yeah.
almost anything. So obviously you need the money for the campaign, but we've been talking inside of the primary, it's not just the money that you spend, but just raising it as a symbol of how good of a candidate you are inside of the Democratic Party is obviously a huge issue too.
Yeah, the media and the establishment have this crazy fetish about fundraising. And that's all they indicate success on, right? I talk to members of Congress and they're like, well, how much did you raise? And fortunately, I have a good story to tell. I've outraised my opponents. I've outraised the Democrat with more cash on hand. I think we're about to be booted out right now.
Oh, really?
Is that okay?
Okay. So we're getting booted off. Security doesn't like us this close to the mall or the border possibly. But anyway, we've been talking with Omar Campa. You've got the primary coming up on June 5th. We're hoping to get you on Rebel headquarters soon.
I'd love to. Maybe next week I'll come by.
Yeah.
But you know, we got the California Democratic Party endorsement. We kicked through the back door. The establishment did not like me. I don't know what it was. It might be a couple things. I just kind of shake their way of life.
Yeah.
I don't believe in big money in politics. I want to expand Medicare for all. I don't believe in building walls. We should build the middle class. I believe we need to move to 100% renewable energy so that our kids could have a habitable and healthy world that we pass on to them.
Your opponent doesn't believe in climate change.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's not real.
Unbelievable.
Obviously, huge list of issues. What's the website?
It's Campa-Campaign.com, and we're coming up on the end of the quarter. It's the last quarter before the primary. I want to set the tone and show the establishment that we can, as a progressive movement, outraise and out-campaign our opponents. So help me do that at Campa-Campaign.com.
Okay, we should be linking it in the description. Anyway, thanks for watching.